Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, the Survival Series 2, and we are continuing on in our kind of base building endeavor here, which is really to say our station building, our space station building. So we still have pretty much all the pieces that we started out with. I can actually now delete that piece up there. Right after I closed the last video, we crashed. So we had that famous driver crash. So what I want to, well, the station tower is here. It was saved, so not a big deal. But eventually I want to try and get everything into the world so we can really work on everything as intended. So what I'm gonna do here initially, originally I was gonna just leave everything here. I need to do some modifications, and one of the reasons I want to do modifications is more just to make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. That's really the goal. And the only way I think I can do that is, so one of the problems that I've seen in the past is um, if a air vent is too far away from an oxygen tank, it doesn't work. Which is to say, the one dot will turn green, but it won't actually repressurize anything. And I don't know if that was a bug or an intended feature, but the bottom line here is I need to add I need to add oxygen tanks in somewhere. And what I may be able to do is just sacrifice, in this particular one, sacrifice build and repair systems. In this one over here, I think I can just add in. And what I'll probably do, the intention will be to add one in the center. Or even two in the center, but one in the center I think would be fine, because then I would guarantee to supply both ends, because this is 25 blocks long, and I don't think 25 blocks is too far, but this will basically guarantee that end to end I have sufficient space going through, or rather, I'm within 12, 13 blocks going either direction. So, having said that, modifications are I need to add oxygen tanks in, and so this unit here already has the oxygen tanks. So we're going to go ahead and Control X. You know what? I'm gonna pause in doing that, and here's why. I added these things back on, but what I want to do is make sure that this is actually glass V1. Well, actually, that does not need to be V1, because there's not going to be another one of those. Okay, sorry, I'm being really indecisive here, and I apologize for that. Let me just go ahead and make sure we have just glass junction. Yep, junction glass. Which we do. Alright, so this is going to be a Control X F10. This is a junction glass, which will be a replace with clipboard. Alright. Cancel, get out of this. We're going to go up here, and I need this. K to get into my configuration menu. This is called Station, I've renamed this several times. Station, junction, scaffold. This is, in this case, V1. Okay, and then convert to station. All right. So we back off from this guy here just a little bit, and we are going to do a Control B, which should now add right there the station junction. Where is the other one? The station junction right here. Okay, so this was a scaffold junction, and the reason I wanted to change the name was to make it so I have station junction, station junction. So I have two different kinds of junctions, one's glass, one's scaffold. So I'm just trying to keep everything consistent here. Why is there a V1 and a V2? If we go all the way down here to the bottom, you see this mount base is this way. We're going to change this. So this is right now 3x7. We're going to change this to a 3x5. So we're going to put angle blocks here and here on the bottom, and then change these to, these are going to stay the same. So basically we're going to cut off this mounting point on the outside because I don't think we really need it. And the change up here is because this is a 3. So what I can do is increase this to basically look similar to this. So we basically come out of here as a solid block, and then that becomes the mounting point for our 5x5 grid down here, or rather our 5x3 grid down here. So anyway, that's going to be the V2. So let's go ahead and rename this. I've copied the V1 in. We'll go ahead and change this this name over to a V2. Click on OK, and then we'll actually come back and work on this because that's going to be pretty simple. I'm going to maintain my focus here, or attempt to do so. Here's what I've done. I have so far recolored everything because this was in the old Tiger orange. In the process of all that, I have recolored all of these, so these are now consistent. I've added on an antenna here, and the antenna add is for the purpose of seeing what all these different things are. So we have pod 1 tac 4, so pod 4. We have pod 3. The batteries are actually going to go away because they are the wrong batteries. They are Kenti batteries, and I want this to be more vanilla than this is 1. So I've renamed these guys so you can see this is now pod 1 tac 02. Sorry, tac dash military calls a dash tac. So, and the reason for that is over radio. Dash can be 100 different words. Tac, there's not a whole lot of words that sound like tac. So, 1 tac 01. So this is the beginning. So here's what I was doing. Was changing. So here's what I think I'm going to go ahead and do. Let me go ahead and select my crazy color here. We're going to put that there and that there. Let me go grab some uranium from up here. And let's go ahead and grab 5,000. And at the same time, we'll put these all in here. So, that's going to start charging all of these batteries, which is a good thing. So this is now a standard battery. So just a plain old battery. It's not a Kenti battery anymore. Let me get back onto 5. Okay, first things first. Colors. Okay, so I created holes. We're going to undo those holes. Battery. We created a hole here and a hole there. Battery. Okay, so loop around, and we're gonna add the might have already done it because I'm mirroring. Yep, battery. So where is okay, so the merge blocks have changed, so those are all okay. Accidentally brought into but there are still Kenti batteries. Where are those? Alright, we'll continue on here by turning off so all of these have the HUD on, so let's go ahead and turn those on because I know those are correct. Definitely a Kenti battery. So let me turn that off. Add the Kenti battery here. Turn this off. That's a Kenti battery. And that's a Kenti battery. So there were those 3 Kenti batteries. So we have now, I think, eliminated all of the Kenti batteries. Yes. So we have battery 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We will go ahead and put those on the HUD. The reason I want to put those on the HUD is they belong somewhere. So by adding a name in, so let me go ahead and do what I conventionally do here, and oops, let's do one more thing. We're going to go back over to 7 and add, we're going to turn mirroring back on, add an LCD panel which should have added on the other side as well. So there's 2, 3, and 4. So what I want to do is just make sure this is working. Yes, it is. All right.
Energy low.
So we're going to do 2 things. We're going to rename the batteries to be appropriate for the pod, which is to say the pod mount, and then we will change the name of the batteries. So this is, strangely enough, battery 1 and 2. So if I were being really, really OCD, then I would actually turn on these guys on the HUD again. So HUD on, and then well, don't actually need to know. So this is 4 Bravo. And I really there's a part of me that really has no need to rename these things, so maybe I just won't, because these are indicators, these are signs. So sign LCDs. Systems, maybe. Sign LEDs. Yeah. We'll go ahead and do that. The other thing we'll do is change ownership. So we'll verify that the ownership here is correct. Systems off and off. Yep, turned all off. The Kenti stuff will remain here. Batteries, there's a shit ton of batteries that are not named. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that here as well. The downside here is that I'll have a bazillion batteries that are named 1, 2, and 3, but I really don't care. I mean, I do care, but I don't, because if I need to find a battery, I can click my battery group, turn it on the HUD, which of course is going to be really, really noisy and obnoxious, but then I zero right in on the battery I need, even though it has a funky name. And as long as I know where it is, then everything should be fine. So, camera. So this is connector pod mounts 1 pull in. So I'm changing a few things here by adding. Let me go ahead and just highlight all of this. We'll do a Control C. In fact, let me go ahead and add the space in the front. So Control C. So I've added a space in the front, which means I need to add this on the back. So this is now mounts 1 supply, and then this becomes that was not named correctly. So supply actually is supply. So this one I rename. So this one is actually not supply. It's fuel ice. So this is another reason why it's kind of fun to come back and fix things. So we'll add that in. Oops, I put the space on the wrong side. And then there we go. And this is the same thing here. So connector pod mounts, and then delete the octopod thing. All right, I think we can turn these off. So we're going to create a cameras group, save. We're going to leave it on the toolbar because cameras are cameras. I need to be able to access those. And these are connectors. We're going to save. We're also going to leave those on the toolbar. These could potentially have an inventory, so we'll leave those in the inventory and then turn them off. So we pretty much have all of this stuff here. Most of the other contraptions that have signs on them are the signs that are going to be deleted. These particular ones are not, there's not the intention to delete. Let me go back in here, grab our cameras, turn them off on the HUD, because I did change that, so that one now disappears. Alright, renaming our batteries. So we have, just to see if my convention holds, the other side is A, this side is B. This is A and B, A and B, and A and B. So that convention does hold true. So in this case, battery 1 and battery 8. So let me put my batteries back on the display. Battery 1 and battery 8. So battery 1 is actually the A side. So this is pod mount 1 tac 01A, right? So we'll cheat a little bit. We will copy this whole thing. See? We'll go to 8, which is 1B. This is 2 and 7, so that's convenient. Battery 2. So this is 2A, and 7 is 2B. So my guess is 3 and 6. Let's see if we are correct. 3 and 6. Yep, look at that. So here we are. 3. So this is 3A, and then 6 will be 3B, which means 4 and 5 will be consistent
Energy
here
critical.
as 4A and 4B. And let's go ahead and have a look. 4A and 4B. So this should be 3A and 3B. This should be 2A and 2B, and 1A and 1B. And sure enough, it is. So what we can do here is once again grab our batteries, turn them off. We'll check the batteries again and turn the HUD off. We'll take all 4 of these in a group and turn them off. All these guys are, I was gonna name them, but why? There's just really no reason. LCDs are these, you know, strange things. So, here's what I want to put on here. So text on the screen. This is one tac 01. So font size. Oh. Alright, that is obnoxiously large, but actually it is close to what we need. There we go. I don't like the fact that the background is all funky now. The background really isn't. Alright, well. Let's look at this again, and we'll put a space in front of this. Alright, so here's what we learned. This is a 9. We turn this on, edit, and this happens to be 2. On 3. So if I were really being intelligent, I would have copied that one, because now I gotta paste it over here. One of the, I guess, I don't want to say strange things, but it's just one of the things about really any sandbox game. There's a lot of tedious work that goes into things. And one of the tedious things is, for example, mining. It's just one of those things that, unfortunately, you gotta do it. You need those resources, and the only way to get those resources is to, well, cheat or mine. So just one of those things. All right, the last one here, conveniently, because it's the same on the other side, which is what I initially copied from, means that there. All right,
No
so the only thing that we have not done here is create a methodology to turn these guys off. And I think I'm okay with that. So what I could really do is delete all those groups, because those groups were actually added in there for the purpose of turning those merge blocks on and off. So I really don't have to do that. I haven't built a mechanism in to do that. So, you know, maybe I can just delete those groups, or I just leave them there. All right, so this thing is basically done. There's nothing really left to do here other than now the use of this is going to add 3 mods into the universe here. So I've eliminated the need for the signs, so I've created signs using the LCDs, which is fine. I don't mind, you know, having kind of generic signage here. So I have the cameras, which is really to say the connector cameras. And I also have these extended tubes, the extended conveyors. So these are the extended conveyors are by Drifting Thoughts, and I don't remember who did the cameras. Don't remember. So, turned white. My guess is when I copy this, it will change. So the last thing that we want to do here is change the way this thing actually does what it does. So I need to set this up, delete, and then I delete this one, and we will go down and delete, spin that, and delete that one. So the idea here is we've kind of changed the way this thing looks. We've gone from a 7x3 down to a 5x3. And the 5x3 in this case, the intention is it will mount directly up to this guy. So let's go ahead and we're gonna delete that. We're gonna come down here and paste it back in the universe. In fact, we'll line it up here reasonably well. And then we're going to change this thing. And if I'm being smart, let me go ahead and use this block. We're going to do an M. Okay, so there's this one. And then we want to do the opposing, which is that one. And then N, and again. So I've basically corded this guy up, which means I can really focus on this is going to change into this type. This one is that type. And this one is that type. I will come back and do those. This is changed to that. And this is changed to that. This is changed. Alright, so I should have now done this on all sides. This one is going to change to this, which will be this one, and then we'll swivel this, and oh darn it, there's my, it deletes what it's pointing at instead of what I wanted it to delete, and I have to find the damn thing. I think it's right there, which is an 8. There we go.
No energy.
Alright, I think yep. I think that alright, so the only thing we have left in this case, we'll go ahead and do this one first. There. Not exactly the way I had planned that, but there. Okay, so on all sides we should now have this this 5x3 connector, which we do. Alright, so here's what we're going to do at this point. Let me get back to 1. We're going to grind off this this battery here. I have no power. So Shift F5. So I was wandering around. This is totally off topic, so I'll change the script on you here. Shift F1. Now, for those of you who haven't seen what Shift F1 is, you can open this screen by pressing Shift F1 whenever you need to check current. So the question is, how do you know what this is? It's on the screen, but it's not going to display that until you press Shift F1. So interesting to know. So here's the fun thing. Automatic ore pickup. Now, 54 minutes. Okay, so it, in whatever way, decided that these were issues. Okay. Roger. So it's been waiting for 57 minutes, so I've had the world open for 57. Scripts, the last script was 31 minutes ago, the last script issue. But here's what it thinks are going on. Nanobot. Now, the nanobot build and repair system is indeed in the world, but they're all powered off. Okay? This is the nanite control factory. There's 2 of them. They happen to be down yonder on the planet. Ladders, climbable. There are none in this world. None in this world. So not sure why that's having an issue. Energy shields, of course, the energy shields are on the planet's surface and here, because I have my mock-up here. So why is ladder an issue when in fact there are no ladders in the world? So, more bullshit brought to you from Space Engineers. Mid-space, I've got those running, and automatic ore pickup is running. Now, this mod is slowing down your game. Well, in what way is it slowing down the game? I can see because these are scripts that run in the background. But ladders. There are no ladders in this world. How could they possibly be slowing down the game? So, anyway, having said all that, my rant for this video. All right. What we need to do now, now that we have fueled ourselves up, is get rid of the old battery here. We also need to get rid of this reactor. Oh, darn. Almost ran out of space there. Roll back over here. Put all these things away. Go back over and finish up this reactor here. And so we are doing a Control C, and then we move this thing. I'm going to go ahead and do the control wheel here a little bit, and copy this to over here. Now this is an identical copy of this, so the intention here is to rename everything that's a 1 tack to a 2 tack. Okay, so it's going to take a little time. Again, a little bit tedious. We're going to do another Control C, get it to swivel around in the right direction, and this will be the same story. And finally, we do this one more time. And this will be the number 4. Alright, so the other thing I want to do is, now that I've actually created this thing, which is to say I've changed some things around on it, we're going to go ahead and do a Control B, and if all worked well, we're going to see a station junction scaffold V2. It should be right here. So there we are, the 2 different scaffolds. That's all. controls that I just did here. I wanted to add oxygen into this, but in the end, I think. You know what? Never mind. Let's just do it. So what I can see here. So let me go ahead and bore into this. So we're gonna click on this one, and this one, and this one, and down there is a green connection. So here's what we're going to do, a green thing, and I think that comes up and is an elbow. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out, this is a T, so we're gonna rotate the T around, and what I need to do at this point is just make sure that the T's are all facing correctly, which they are. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure this mirrors correctly. So we're gonna go ahead and put this down here. We're gonna delete that block. We're going to verify so it's coming up the bottom, out the front. So that is indeed correct. And paste. Then we come over here and see if I still have an oxygen tank, and I do not. So tank, and that's a Kenti oxygen tank. Definitely do not want that. We're going to replace our battery with an oxygen tank. Oxygen tanks, I typically color them blue just because. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here as well. And let's just flip that one up on end. I kind of want to see, too close, how this is. So oxygen, yeah. So there's this. We'll get back out here and shove this down in. We're going to go ahead and reverse that, mostly just to get the indicators out here in the front, and then we're going to paste. And the last thing we're going to do in this case is go back over to toolbar number 6. We'll punch up number 7, and then rotate these guys around the correct direction, which will put the scaffolding back in on top. So here's what I hope we have accomplished, is put an oxygen tank and plumb it in, and the same thing on this side, put an oxygen tank and plumbed it in. So having said that, now is the time to redo over here, and I think we're going to go ahead and delete the scaffold V2, yes, and cancel, and then we're going to rotate ourselves just a hair. We'll do another Control B, and we should now have a brand new V2, which you can see. It's hard to see, I know, but it shows that we do indeed have those oxygen tanks in there. All right, so this is pod 1, pod bank 1. Over here we have what's ultimately going to be pod bank 2. So we're going to start changing things. All right. Easiest way to do that is to this is where the tediousness comes in. Is tediousness a word? I think it is. Now, another thought process is, do I want to do pod mount 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the next one, which maybe we should. It would make it simple. We would no longer need the 2-tack anymore. So let's go ahead and, just because it does mean that we're going to have to change the numbers on the other one. And this is 7. Okay, so this is 5. This will be 6. 6. 6. All right. Let's go ahead and change. This is now 05. At least I think. Interesting. Oh. That's why. Never mind. But at least it's consistent, right? So we need to do the same thing down here, except with the merge blocks. And because I'm not going to set everything up to power off, then let's go ahead and not worry about an individual group. We could add those at any time, because after all, I am going through here and renumbering everything. So this is a 6. Finally, number 8. Alright, so the batteries have been renamed, and in this case, the pod mounts 2. So this is the only snafu in this theory. So we still have 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this portion. All right. So there's our merge blocks, and we're going to have this as a group. So pod blocks group 2. All right, straightforward enough, I think. So that having been said, we have pod blocks group 2. We could technically have batteries group 2, but why? And that remain. All right, so let's. Oh, sorry. Forgot about this. So the good news is I can edit just one thing. So this is actually going to be 05. Let us, just for fun, space, and space. What does that do here? That actually looks quite a bit better. Okay, edit, Control A, and Control C. All right. Huh. The lowest one, so this is actually number 7. I screwed up. This is number 8. Was they're labeled from the outside in. Nope. Nope. I am incorrect. I was correct the first time. All right. This is back to number 8, then number 7. And finally, number 5 again. All right, so there is the second one completed. So let's go ahead and go back over here and fix all of these. one thing I forgot to check. No, I guess I did. I was thinking the connectors and cameras, but I did change those on the other one, so that should be alright. This is number 2. And finally, number 1. Alright, so just for sake of having looked, let's go ahead and go into K. So, okay, I do have to change these. This is mounts 1. Our LCDs are going to remain as they are. This is the batteries. So we'll do the same thing here. Right. And we're going to delete those groups. Our batteries are still selected, and let's go ahead and create the group. So this was pod blocks group 1. And save. Now, if I were being really intelligent, so we need to turn this off. Group 1. And let's go ahead and parentheses this, which is 01 to 04. We'll add that in there. And then we'll delete this. So here's why I do that. Having a group that's visible on, in the entire spectrum on your terminal is a good thing, but designating this is 01 to 04, I think actually is a good thing. And the only challenge is we have mounts 1 here, and I could probably say pod group 1, which may, in fact, that would be a much better idea to call it group. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll change pod group 1, group 1, group 1, which makes it a little bit more obvious when we're looking in the terminal window. But here's something else I think I would like to do is we'll do one more display right here. And we'll go ahead and make that tiger orange. Of course. And on text group 1. And we're going to scroll down here and we're going to change this to a 5. Let's see what that looks like. Group 1. Oh, well, that didn't work out quite as planned. So alright, so let's do a space and a space. Space and a space. Do another space and space. Trying to get these. You know what? Alignment. Center. Could have done that on the others, couldn't I? Which then means we need to see what happens. Hey, look at that. Alright, now unfortunately the OCD in me says I need to fix these. But I'm not. Because no one will ever know the difference. Right? Okay, but here's what we are going to do. Oh, darn. Why did I do that, you ask? Well, I changed the numbering scheme here. And we still have a couple things that we need to change, such as we're going to change this over to group V. Group. Alright, messed that one up. Those are changed. Group 2, we're going to change the name of this thing exactly as we did before. So this is 05 to 08. Do a save and then delete that group. And like we did over here, we're going to paste that guy in there. And edit this. We know that 5, let's just for fun see how 6 works. We want to turn on this, and this is going to be group 2, OK, and alignment center. Hey, look at that. So let's go ahead and change this. Try and do 6. Alright, group 1, group 2. We're going to do a C and move that. And we're going to do another C, control. So these are easy. So we're going to edit text and go down here, and actually this is 4. Panel 9. Oh, so I do need to add on. So we're going to go ahead and do, this is group 3 or group 4? This is group 4, right? Nope, this is group 3, which is going to be 9 to 12, right? And save, and then delete that group. So, one of the things that we forgot to do over here, which we'll remedy, is K, this panel 18, systems, sign LCD, go to save, off and off. So get rid of that. So that one is now mostly fixed. So there's OCD issues there, but we'll survive. Okay, and as is somewhat normal. So sign, save, and off and off. So I am just slightly over an hour. So I obviously have to finish up the stuff here, which I'm going to do off screen because I think you've seen enough of that, and it's the tediousness just gets really, really boring. So we're going to not worry about that. So this is Kenty Tiger signing off. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.